I think there's like a 5-minute delay between like what I'm doing and what's coming through in the stream, which is making things extra confusing. But anyway, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and welcome to the August 2019 #ChemKnits Dialogue Live. Yay, finally! Thank you everyone for hanging in there during all the troubleshooting. Whew, this was really frustrating, but clearly I think it seems to be a processing power issue versus my versus the internet, which is well, it's a good thing if it means that I just have to replace my computer. Kind of wish I could just call FiOS and read them the right act. Anyway, this month we are inspired. Sorry, this intro is wild. This month we are inspired by these neutral browns. They're warm browns, cool browns, gray browns, a little black, a little white, and we're going to play with layering color, low immersion. I have 4 different yarn bases, pre-soaked, and we'll see like where things go and where we end up. No, I'm looking at it and I can't tell if I'm reading. Yes, I was reading. I got nervous. Yeah, I've got 4 bases. So I've got Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight, which is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. I've got Knit Picks Hawthorne, which is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. I've got some wool to dye for. I think it's Donegal BFL, which is a tweeded superwash BFL nylon, and then the whatever the tweed nups are there. I no longer have that open, so I can't see that. And then I also have Dyer Supplier Silvery Sock, which I believe is, I'm not sure what percent, if it's like 65 superwash merino, 15 nylon, 20 stellina. I believe it's 20% stellina. It's very, very sparkly, which the sparkles don't really fit for this image necessarily, but the huge amount of stellina gives it sort of a gray cast, and so I wanted to pull that in. Now, disclosure-wise, Dyer Supplier sends me some yarn for free to test out and share, and I am a member of their affiliate program. I buy all the yarn that I use from Knit Picks myself, but I'm also a member of their affiliate program. And then Wool to Dye For, I don't have any relationship with them besides being a customer, and I just buy stuff from them occasionally because they have BFL and I like BFL. So that is that. But if you want to learn more about any of the yarn or materials and stuff, you can find links in the video description. Also, Knit Picks is having a flash sale right now. You can save $20 on a purchase of 100 or more. And historically, you can use these codes more than once. So I have been known to do 2 separate $100 orders, so that way I could save. But I might go, and if I haven't checked if Stroll Fingering is back in stock, because if so, I will be ordering that because I am running low. I only have 2 bags left. And yeah, that was out of stock last time. Oh no, if I have my phone like that, I can't see the chat. But my affiliate links are in the video description. I can't post it in the chat because of the way the setup is going today, but that is great. Oh, Deneen, the issue is on my end, not yours, for sure, for sure. So anyway, let's get started because we're not hot yet anywhere. And there we go. Okay. Trying to make this, I guess I don't need to move the computer around if, well, I will if I need to change the setting. Shoot. I was like, well, that's handy. Okay, let's just run back around here. You love the inspiration photo. Oh, you have chickens, ducks, and sheep. Aw. Okay, forgot to make that image go away. Although I sort of wish I had it up. The image is on Instagram, and oh, right. The fun thing with these dye-alongs is I'm inviting all of you to dye along at home with me. And so, yeah, just share your pictures on Instagram with the hashtag ChemKnitsDyeAlong, or there's a pinned post on my Facebook page, and so you can share things there in the comment of that pinned post, and I'll pick some of the pictures to feature in the recap from this live stream. Okay, so here's the wool of the Andes. And I've got it, I'm pulling it out of this pre-soak super saturated, and I'm placing it in another pan, which I am, there we go, just going to do a little swap. There's no heat yet. I am going to use this to sort of swatch the different colors that I have. I've pulled out not quite every gray, but every brown and black that I have on hand. I mixed a lot of I mixed a lot of 1% stock solutions yesterday. Let's go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and then here we go. This is a half cup. Just adding some more from the pre-soak. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's about 2 cups of water in here right now. That's super low immersion, so I'm going to add some more. Wow, I didn't know that I could close Chrome, because that's how I turn the streams on and off. So that's good to know that I can do that in the future. I just need to get a different device set up. Okay, let's get the heat on. I'm on my gas stovetop, and these chafer pans, I think they're 25 to 30 on Amazon. Yeah, I think they're $25 to $30 on Amazon, and I love them. There should be an affiliate link to it in the video description, and also these reusable nylon zip ties. And let's see. Checking the chat for questions. Okay. Do I have to dye yarn to dye along? You do fabric. Fabric is totally fine. I will accept fabric. I will accept roving. I will accept blending fiber. Just you're playing with colors inspired by the photo. That sounds great. And yes, Sandy, thank you for saying, yeah, just do everything. And Christine, thank you for checking that stroke fingering is still not available at Knit Picks. Sigh. I hope I don't run out. I love Hawthorne, don't get me wrong. So there's a reason, I think the main reason why I've been using more Hawthorne lately in videos is that I have that much more of it. Okay, so I have pulled 10 colors. And some of these I don't think I'm necessarily going to use, but I have them pulled just in case. And so that one I'm setting aside. So I've got Jacquard Brown, Dharma Fawn, Dharma Sand Dune, Jacquard Ecru, Dharma Pecan Brown, Jacquard Chestnut, which is pretty reddish, Dharma Espresso Bean, which is purplish, True Black, Silver Gray, and I did bring down Jacquard Aztec Gold, which is definitely more yellow, but I brought it just to have. So this steam pan actually with the dent actually showed up dented, and they gave me like a really good discount for that. So the newer one that I have, so this pan, that one showed up sort of in perfect condition, but there wasn't time to return it, and so the Amazon rep just, I think she refunded me for it. But okay, let's sort of, and I'm using the term swatch really, really loosely here. Okay, so here's some Jacquard Brown. And I want my favorite spoon, which sadly, I think I got this spoon at the dollar store, which has a plastic handle, and so it's got a plastic handle and a metal spoon, and I really, really like it. I'm going to reduce the heat to low, but they didn't have any like that. And I like it because it doesn't get hot. Hopefully all these actually have holes poked in. This is Dharma Fawn, which is warmer toned. This is a redder brown. But these both read true brown. This one almost feels a little green, if that makes sense. Okay, sand dune should be more pastel. This is a cool toned brown. And I believe, at least from when I've speckled with it, it is similar in like hue to the pecan brown. And if you look at those next to each other, they do look really, really similar. It's just that the pecan is more, yeah, if this is dilute, it looks very similar to sand dune. So those four are the true browns that I have. I guess ecru. Making the 1% stock solution of the ecru was really fun. And that, ooh. So this feels most like jacquard brown to me. And this, I only made 100 milliliters of it. And so this I could go through really, really fast. I might save this in case there's like a white patch that I want to go through and grab. Sarah asked, did the delay go away? No, the delay is still there. When I'm reading this comment, I had just done this, this brown, and I've already done the ecru. So that is sort of a mark. That was at 8:56 when you said the comment, and I think it's 8:58 right now. So yes, as I'm saying this, it is 8:58. Can someone tell me how long the delay is? Thank you. Wait, the egg in the middle has aqua? I didn't bring down any blues. Oh, you're right. That is a green egg in there. Too bad I didn't mix any sage leaf. No, I don't have any, and I kind of regret it. I probably could go mix a green, which, depending on how long the stream goes, I'm really sad now that I don't have it. I actually like the combination of these four, but I do want to go ahead and swatch the other colors that I have in this family, just so that way you guys can see them next to each other. So here is not, I need a paper clip. It's like, here is true black. Oh no, this is not thick enough paper clip. Will you please poke the hole so I don't have to cut the tip? Please. There we go. Yay. Don't squirt me. Don't squirt me. There we go. Okay, here we've got some true black. And in the lab, someone was talking about how a black broke. I find that the jet black from jacquard definitely does break, but the true black does not break for me. And I don't think silver gray does. And I think I might need to poke a hole in here. Yeah. These squeeze bottles are from Dharma Trading Company. They don't, as far as I'm aware, have an affiliate program. I'd love it if they did. So what being an affiliate means, so this is silver gray. What being an affiliate means is that I earn a commission based on sales. And so if you use any of my affiliate links that I share, then I, oh shoot, did I leave that up? If I use any affiliate links, oh no, I didn't, okay. See, it's the delay. If you use any of the links, then I get commission. Okay, so it's 9:01, so it's only about a 3-minute delay. It looks like a super pale blue-green. I like the taste of green eggs. He used to have a colleague who would give us every week a dozen fresh eggs, and it was great. Okay, so here is Aztec Gold, which, if any of you have any infants around, you will recognize the color. And apologies for that notion. But so the Aztec Gold is very yellow, as you can see, but it does like sort of fit in the brown family when it's a little more concentrated. I don't think I'm going to be using it today, but yeah, so I thought that it was helpful to include that. And I'm actually going to take some pictures of this, so that way I can share that in the recap. And I think, oh, I forgot to. Ha! Okay, here's chestnut, which I might use, but it is very like purpley. So it's, yeah, but I had something that had a lot of the chestnut in it, and I had something that had a lot of chestnut in it, and it was reading brown to me more when it's more pigmented, if that makes sense. And here is some espresso bean, which definitely is a purple. Yeah. Okay, now I've got them all, and I need to just write all of this down. Okay, where is, of course my diary is MIA, but I have, because I'm going to pull it for tonight because I wasn't thinking I was going to use it. Okay, so we've got, so this is me. I'm just writing it down. Fawn. Sand dune. This is espresso. True black. Silver. Yeah. So I think that the colors I'm going to play with are going to be the 5 over here, but I wanted to pull these. I might do some hints of the silver, gray, and black, just like tiny amounts for some depth, but I do wish that I had that green, and that's going to be a regret of mine as like this goes on. And oh, I can't see the chat. Sorry, guys. Live chat. Your Jacquard, black, red, and blue. Yes, Sarah. No, don't be sorry. Asking questions is good. Oh, yes, the chestnut. Yeah, so the chestnut is great. It's very purple. And this one has those pink undertones in the fawn, which I think are great. So it looks to me like fawn is breaking. I see a red finish there. Okay, I do want to do something to this yarn before we move on. And so, oh, did I take 2 pictures for my swatch or just one? Yes, so chestnut. Ooh, the espresso bean is looking more brown to me than the chestnut, but the chestnut's Jacquard and the espresso bean is Dharma. Okay, cool. I will post a picture of that into ChemKnits Lab. Let me put my gloves back on. And so now we are going to do a favorite of mine, and we're just going to layer these on top of each other. And then once we're done, we will switch pans and do the actual vision for this project today. Just layering. And this is the overall kind of technique I am planning on using today. Just layering things. And I will be going through and sort of like pressing on these in a little bit. But I wanted to even this out. And I'm not even paying attention to what I am pulling right now. Since this is 1% stock solutions in the bottle, things are reading really pigmented because I haven't helped spread them out at all. And things will strike a little slower since this is a non-superwash wool. But you can see that they are still striking pretty quickly even as I go and spread them out. But this, ooh, maybe I will end up bringing some of that Aztec Golden to layer it on. I sort of like what that is doing. And I don't mind if there are some pastel patches that are left behind. In fact, I invite them. I'm going to turn the heat back up a little bit. And okay, we will want to check by the tie. Okay, I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes. And then we'll flip it, add color to the other side, and then swap things around so we can dye our other 3 yarns. And so I guess here's the time. I'm not going to be able, hold on. I really like dyeing 3 different fabric types, low immersion, in one pan. And sort of just to show you how different the 3 that we'll be using look. I just enjoy that because if it's low immersion, one of them isn't necessarily going to grab the dye faster than another, but it's still really fun. Okay. Hi. And so if you are just tuning in, the inspiration for all of today is this like egg photo right here. I really wanted to play around with hues of brown, and yeah, I'm really excited. I think that I am going to focus on the colors today that lean a true brown. And then, so I'm gonna focus on the colors that lean true brown, but then I might bring in those more brown golds and purples to give some more undertone shift if I feel like the color needs it. I'll probably avoid a lot of the black and gray unless, again, I feel like I need to introduce a little more blue for a little more depth and texture. And so that's what I'm going for. And I'm going back to the chat. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, there's about a 3-minute delay, we think, between what is going on in my kitchen and what's coming through on the stream. But oh, see my, this is a total random aside. Nope, is it gonna, too bright. Nope, can't do it. Wanted to show off my hollow taco, and I don't think I can get the like rainbow shimmer in there easily. So there's about a 3-minute delay, and we had a lot of technical difficulties today. Yes, the swatch one I think is a great interpretation of the photo as well. I thought that since I had so many colors today, I really wanted to be able to show you guys. I thought it was a good opportunity to take all these things that claim to be brown. Not that the black and gray claim to be brown at all. I'm reducing the heat. But ooh, that little bit of purple in there is beautiful. Yeah, I just thought that it would be helpful to lay it all out. Because initially, when I bought espresso bean, I thought that it was going to be a brown, which is more like pecan brown. I thought it was going to be a cool toned brown, and it wasn't. It was purple. So I was a little disappointed by that. But it's one of the reasons why I like just sort of doing a quick and dirty swatch. And I've swatched, by swatch I mean really roughly. A proper swatch would be dyeing mini skeins at a 1% DOS, which is depth of shade, where you have 1 gram of dye per 100 grams of yarn. And so you could do that for all the colors you have, and then you get a sense of the level of intensity of each color and the hues. I've done quick and dirty swatches where we add a little powder on and just see and get a sense of the hue. Is it warm? Is it cool? Is one really more pigmented than the other? That kind of thing. But today we were actually comparing 1% stock solutions. So while, yeah, I might have added a little more of one color than another, the comparison of them is a little more true, if that makes sense. It looks like leaves on the ground. That's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. And I love layering colors like this. And I think, you know, for something like this, you don't need to have 1% stock solutions. You can make a stock solution at whatever sort of level you want and then make it more or less concentrated. That is completely up to you. I just decided to do them all as 1% stock solutions, but I was mixing up like 100 milliliter, 250, and all this. Oh, there's the inspiration photo again, and I'm gonna go turn that off if I can find this. But man, if I didn't have the technical difficulties, guys, I forgot to go in on my like brown, I had a whole brown spiel in my head. So many of you know, my name is Rebecca, but my legal name is actually Rebecca Brown. And a lot of times, I think a lot of times when like I'm mixing colors together, and you're like, ooh, this looks awesome. It didn't turn out muddy. It didn't turn out a brown. I wanted to show that brown can be beautiful, and we should roll around and play in the mud. I don't have my tongs. Ooh, we got pretty good coverage so far. This is why I love, love, love these nylon zip ties. Now, I can handle touching the yarn for quick, like little quick moments. But I'm spreading this out. This is actually not bad right now. I am going to add on a bit more color, I think. Getting some pecan all around. Some of the standouts hue-wise are that fawn, the Aztec gold, and some of those purples. Since this is only one skein, there is like a level of balance sort of like intrinsically in here. Let's do a little more gray because that's another one that will sort of stand out a bit. But this is what I would call, and I think you guys can understand why, this is a non-repeating colorway. And so if this were superwash, this is Wool of the Andes worsted weight yarn right now. If this were a superwash yarn, I would probably not wait as long to sort of like fluff out the colors. But I know that they're not striking really fast. I have about 4 cups of water in here with, goodness, about 4 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, but the yarn went in saturated. I want, pretty happy with this. I might do, yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like where we've ended up. And this is something that feels very watercolor-esque, if that makes sense, because these colors sort of layer together in a really, really wonderful way. And I could keep going. So right now, I think that if I were to go and let this dry, we would really hit like our target colorway really, really spot on. And that's because I think that it'll dry, they always dry more muted. But you can keep going and layering and layering and layering colors. And some of these different, more orange and more yellow patches will become these undertones that you can still see even if the whole thing is mega, mega saturated. So I hope that that makes some sense. Okay, I'm going to turn off the heat. This is not too hot. Let me dump that. And okay, good. I can turn off the heat. So I am just transitioning our yarn. There's still, I think you can hopefully see, I can't see a camera. There is still some color in there, but I'm really happy with how that turned out. And so I now have it heating on the second set of burners. Just on low. I think I'll do that for about 10 minutes. Okay, I want to take off my gloves and check in on the chat. And then we will start playing with our other 3 skeins. Yes, so this is Wool of the Andes worsted. Ooh, a tortoiseshell kitty. I like that. Oh, yes. And I just went up and saw I am absolutely wearing Hollow Taco. I'm not sure. I don't think you're zoomed in enough to really like see. But I'm wearing, Live of Polish. They're black. And I know that that's a brand that Christine likes because that's why I started ordering from them. And then I've got the Hollow Taco flaky 2 thick layers of it on top. I wish they, I want hollow yarn so bad. But yeah, I love Christine so much. So, oh man, okay. I am pulling up my yarn, and so I mentioned I want to play with this technique, sort of the same technique that I just did, but on 3 very different skeins of fingering weight sock yarn. These are all, to some extent, superwash, but as you can see, they look quite different. Okay, so in the order that we've got right here, grab this. Okay, so we've got the BFL Donegal sock, which is 85% BFL superwash, 25% Donegal nep. Okay, so there's no nylon in that one. We have Knit Picks Hawthorne, which is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And then this one that I'm not sure, oh, I'm looking to see. Yeah, no, you can't see my sparkles. This one, which I'm not sure if you can see the sparkles here. This is the Dyer Supplier Silvery Sock. which is superwash merino nylon and I think 20% stellina. It is so sparkly, which doesn't necessarily fit the whole earthiness that we're going for, but like these neps fit a lot better. But I sort of wanted something else to just sort of contrast everything that we're doing. Okay, let's get some water, and I'm using our pre-soak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I know I'm going to add more water. That was 4 cups of water. Oh, this is not bad, actually. Pan feels a little crowded, but we will probably have to move things around a couple times. Let's bring this up to, oops, 6 with another 4½ cups. I know there's a lot of people that go lower, even lower immersion than me, but like I don't mind if the colors spread out. So even if these were 3 of the exact same kind of yarn, this would not be identical. You know, they would be related, but the color placement's not going to be the same across the board. Let's add 1, 2, 3 tablespoons. This is more acid than, just sort of mixing it all up. This is more acid than we have in the first pan, and since these are superwash, things will strike faster, but you know, it is what it is. And I mentioned Knit Picks is having like a really big sale right now, $20 off of a purchase of 100 or more with the code. There's a code, it's on their website. You can find my affiliate links to Knit Picks, Dyer Supplier, and Amazon in the video description. And I'd like to thank all of you again for putting up with all of these technical difficulties. I'm glad that it seems to be my processing power. I mean, I'm not glad that it's clearly the laptop, even with deleting. Like, I freed up like an additional 100 gigabytes off of the hard drive, and I really hoped that that would help, but no. Okay, so in the pan right now, I guess I just went through that. Yeah, good tweet. So I'm aiming out, yes, I will pop up the inspiration photo again before I start dyeing. Sorry guys, there's about a 3-minute delay between the chat and what I'm saying. But here is our inspiration photo today. And so this is what we're going for. Okay. And I've got a mixture of Dharma acid dyes and Jacquard acid dyes. Okay. I'm going to save. Fawn, what I'm going to save. Yeah, okay. So let's start light. Oh, I don't have any heat on yet. I'm still going to start dyeing because that's what I want to do. And yep, made sure that you guys will be able to see. So these are all 1% stock solutions. And we will be creating relatively non-repeating colorways today. You can see things are, even with like not a lot of heat yet, just from going and moving it after just first adding it, you can still see those swirls and stuff that I added. And so I could go in heavier. But one of the reasons why I do like to pat down and sort of move this is that it will help a little bit some of the color go to other layers beneath. But with 3 things in a pan, I will need to move things around a fair amount. Okay, let's do some fawn. Uh-oh. Just want to reduce the heat. Fawn. So the goal with this is to have different levels of saturation of each of these colors on our yarn. So here is some jacquard brown, which is way more pigmented, at least it's looking to me, than these 2 colors that we've used already. But one of the things that is going to make things look pretty ordered and somewhat regular right now. But as we move the yarn and do multiple layers of this color coverage, that is going to add even more sort of like layering of these tones. Because with the only 3 colors right now, you can see many different hues sort of in here already, which I think is fun. I love tweeds. Okay, so here is some pecan, which is very similar to sand dune, and I'm just sort of going a little bit. It is very, very similar to sand dune in terms of hue. It is just clearly much more pigmented. And I am totally fine if some white is left behind. I have that ecru, but I have a feeling that some of the residual pastels from these colors will sort of give us a sort of ecru. I think having a color that pastel is helpful. Okay, I'm turning off the heat of the Wool of the Andes yarn in the other pan, and I'm just going to let that cool. I love what's happening. Okay, so I think a color like an ecru is super, super handy to have because I think that mixing something, sorry, just focusing on where I'm adding these. I think that it's really handy to have a color like ecru because it can be really hard to mix something that pastel, and same with like an off-white or something like that. So today I'm not going to worry a ton about not ending up super saturated because the tones overall are fairly medium. And right now this looks like a lot of color. And I mean, it is a lot of color. But I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. It is a lot of color there, but it definitely could be way more intense and saturated if that's what you want. And so then you can keep going because dyes are sort of, acid dyes are sort of layers. So whatever color that you put on top of another one, the first color still sort of exists there. This is so pretty. Just grabbing some pictures. I've never spun a tweed either. The tweed is giving you some ideas. Ooh, awesome. Wait, Sandy, which picture for you guys to use? The egg picture? That is currently on Instagram and Facebook right now. Oh shoot, I was gonna try to go and I know there's a delay. Oh no, I'm trying to get to the chat. The yarn pick or okay, adding that in the chat, so it'll probably get through faster. Ooh, it does look so. It's so funny how different things look on my phone, but ooh, guys, what's coming through the stream? Freaking nailed it! Nailed it! I wish. Ugh. I'm trying to think about what colors I have mixed already, because since I've been having stream issues, I didn't want to have to put on the respirator today. So I pre-mixed a bunch of colors yesterday. Some of them are older than that. But I wish I had sage leaf, because that color sort of watered down would be pretty spot on for that one egg. See, if I wanted to make that sort of minty color with food coloring, I would use 1 drop of Colorite blue, 1 drop of Colorite orange, gives a really nice mint hue, and then I dilute that. So, because those 2 drops are still too intense, so I dilute that further to get sort of a really soft mint. Ooh, I wonder if at one point, it was like St. Patrick's Day, like probably 3 years ago, Knit Picks had a green yarn sale, and I bought mint everything, so I was overdying mint for a lot of videos. Yes, so I'm just at ChemKnits on Instagram, and I'm also just facebook.com/ChemKnits, and this egg picture is the pinned post there, and you can see it on my inspiration, or on my Instagram page. I always try, oh wait, I was going to lose the chat, because I keep forgetting the chat is on my phone today. I always try to share the month's inspiration photo around the 15th. I did that to sort of shift things, because a lot of times the very beginning of the month have a lot of things that are like boom, 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 hectic. So I was trying to like spread things out a little bit. And so to submit your pictures, usually within the like first half of the next month, I try to get the recap out before the next live stream. So ideally at the beginning of September is when I finish putting the recap together. But I usually will like post, like comment on the Facebook thread to be like, okay, I'm gonna like gather things up at the end of this week or something. But you can always share dialogue images and stuff like months later. And so if you look at the hashtag ChemKnits dialogue, you should see a lot of the past inspiration photos. Wait, it's only about a minute delay now. And I'm also just facebook.com/ChemKnits, and this extra still seems a couple. I just like jumped ahead because of the I saw the question in the chat. The delays. Man, I'm so annoyed about the computer, because this computer is only. When did I buy it? Is it only 2 years old? Or did I get one right when I was born? That's what I don't know. If it's 3 years old, that's a little more reasonable for a laptop, but I don't know. I mean, ChemKnits has not yet bought me a laptop, but ChemKnits also doesn't really pay me very much. I am the only person on ChemKnits, so it's sort of like anything. Yeah, I'm currently like investing back into the videos and stuff a lot right now. But the ways that you guys can help out would be, oh, did I leave the inspiration show up? Yes, I did. I'm like leaning over the computer. Nope. Can't figure this out backwards. I was looking like upside down, trying to figure out how to turn this off. What was I going to say? There's many ways that you guys can support all things ChemKnits. I have a Patreon. There's my Etsy shop where I sell yarn featured in the videos. And what? How did I get brown on the floor? I mean, I didn't get any dye on the floor at all. No, never. Actually, for doing as much yarn dyeing as I do and experimentation, my house is really, really clean. There was just like a little splash of brown, and thankfully it wasn't a fiber reactive dye because it just wiped right up off of the wood floor. But I rarely find, like when I check and wipe down the floor and stuff, I rarely find dye splatter, so that's good. Okay. Goodness me, and I'm going to dry off my hands to pick up the chat. Let's see. You saw some of the green yarn from that? They do that one every year. So there's some sales that I can predict. Like at some point during the big sale in November, there's usually 20% off your whole purchase. But I wonder if they'll go up to like 25. So there's that. There's, usually a red and pink sale. Ooh. So you can see just how, so if I move half of this, we did get some color towards the center, but not like a ton. The colors are sort of binding fairly shallow. Oh, here we got a little more color penetration. So we will move things around as much as we need to. But I know that, so I try to pick yarns in general that fit along with the inspiration. And I know that this silvery sock doesn't quite fit in the same way that some of the others do. But I wanted to, again, I liked that grayish base, and I thought it would just be kind of fun to pull that in. Okay, so here is the jacquard brown. I think of all of these, this is the oldest. This is the oldest of my stocks. So a lot of the other stocks are, I made like yesterday or recently. And it's up to you. You can do these like patterns, but I love how even like doing this, you get that tonal variation, and it's just the layering. It just makes me so excited. I'm going to do sand dune because it is one of the palest colors. In general, even though, of course, I just started with the brown, but in general, it's a little easier to start pale and work your way up in terms of like then knowing where you placed color. And these are all 1% stock solutions that I am adding on. And so one of the reasons for doing things at a bit of an angle is to sort of add to that, is to add to the non-repeating, oh God. Okay, I gotta, oh God. Found where the leak culprit was. At least this time I saw it. Got a little on the floor, but otherwise mostly stayed in the pan. Okay, that's the first time that has happened with these squeeze bottles. I think I might have just been putting a little too much pressure on it. Don't even know where I added it, but that's okay. Okay, let's go slower. Not squeeze so much. Making sure to add some down at the ends. I'm letting that color squirting out the side. do what it's gonna do. I should like put a note on this for myself somewhere. Okay. So when I store my dye stalks in my house, I have them in a plastic tub under the sink. And I use that as what I like to call, and what I used to call back in the lab days, it's a secondary container. So that way, if the bottles leak, I don't get a ring of dye at the bottom, if that makes sense. Oh, Caitlin, yay, you're going to start dyeing yarn. Woohoo! I'm so glad. You're going to see if it drop cloths down? Yeah. Yeah, I put down a shower curtain on my work, like on my counter. So this is pecan brown from Dharma. And so before you start doing this, I mean, I've done this technique a lot in like leave no dye behind videos. But so one thing that you could do here is you could start playing with this. Sorry, lost my train of thought. You could definitely, Rebecca. Oh, so you could dye, if you wanted to, you could take and you could dye the whole skein first. So you could dye it like a semi-solid or a tonal first, and then use that as the base for layering your colors. So I'm not waiting this time. I am opening up and sort of twisting the hanks inside out, if that makes sense, to expose some of these areas that we missed. And this is something with this kind of technique that goes fairly shallow. If I'm doing something where the colors will penetrate more, hot, then I don't find this to be as necessary. But today these colors are striking really, really quickly, and so that's the reason why. So I'm sort of at the tie, I'm flipping the yarn to expose, and I'm going to bring the tongs in because this is hot, to expose yarn that we hadn't seen. And this is just to add some more balance. In general, if I'm trying to do like, you'll see if I'm doing two skeins of the same colorway, I try to do 2 in a pan. I like to do 2 in a pan at a time because I don't need to move things around as much. Or if I'm doing this with just dye powder, I find that that is also something that really helps, because, so if I'm just using the powder, it can be helpful because the powders will spread more if I like add it thickly and then shimmy it versus speckling. Yes, the shower curtains work awesome. So all of a sudden, our sand dune isn't showing up quite as much. And that's because we have added so much color on here. So that is good. So there's definitely not nothing. And I'm sort of just doing some brown, jacquard brown, which one of the first times I used this was when I did that stencil video with Gorgum. And I think I was a little disappointed because I really, really wanted this to be like pecan brown. I wanted it to be like a deeper brown. Okay, fine. Let's see if I can clean you up, so that way you don't make a mess on me again. But actually, so as far as the jacquard line goes, brown and ecru are really the only two more true browns there. I mean, there's other stuff in there, but a lot of the other colors are like more purple, which, you know, in the other colorway, I definitely use some of those more purple ones, and I'm not really feeling right there. Whatever I did was so, like, no, we're fine. So pigmented in that spot. Calm down. I really, really like fawn. Back when I did that Foxy picture, I wish that I had fawn. That mixed with an orange or something would have been perfect for that fox. This is really like one of my favorite techniques. I think that if I had just like, if I was only a shop, if I was only like my Etsy shop, then this is, I'd have like a whole line in multiple colors of this technique. I absolutely, absolutely love it. And this is probably going to be the last pass. Again, if there are some light patches around, I don't mind horribly, you know. The goal is just to like not have a huge stretch like there. I'm not sure if you guys can see the sparkle tude here, but I really like it. Okay. I really, really like where this is going. Okay, let's start with, you'd be interested in seeing these colors on a soft blank. Well, yes, I do. That's a good thing to bring up. So I do offer sponsorships from individuals in the ChemKnits Creations Etsy shop. It's something that is so much fun to do, and I'm not always able to take specific requests, but I am occasionally, and I do try. And so like in a recent video, like I've been having people be like, oh, could you do this kind of fiber type or this kind of bat? And those are usually, those kinds of things usually end up being priced a bit differently from, like, I'll usually set up a custom listing for someone for something like that. But they start, the sponsorships start at, I think, $55, and you get shout outs in the video, and you get 100 grams of yarn dyed in that video. Get some, oh, I want some fun. Yeah, so these days with sock blanks, my preference is to, my preference with sock blanks is to make them myself, just because that is definitely, sorry. Back in the day, my preference was to make them myself. These days, my preference is to buy them, but that's because of the time factor. But cost-wise, getting like a cheap knitting machine, one of my favorites is the Loops and Threads knitting machine that Michaels carries, which I know is a little more expensive. But with a 40% off coupon, it's not as bad. Okay, this is some pecan brown. Try not to squirt my floor. And so I can also do this without padding to spread out these colors. But I think that with this water level, because there's so much resist from just how the yarn is laying, it would be harder to get sort of like a good coverage. But I think I'm probably going to end up leaving it about here. I am going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And while that is just sort of heating, I want to show the Wool of the Andes yarn that we did first, where we swatched everything we had on hand. I like that yellow and purple that sort of we brought in and the little bit of gray, but I like how subtle this is, and it's very very brown. And so I'm sort of living for it. So I'm going to come back over and sit down in just a second. Washing my hands. And I don't know what that is. It's like I see this brown spot on the side of my stove, and I was like, what are you? And I think, yeah, that was not dye. That must have been my food. Because I was like, why are we like stuck on? Okay, let me see. Yeah, the knitting machines are definitely awesome. What's funny is since the chat is on my phone tonight, I went over to it and I was like, ooh, I need to flip camera. Oh, yes. So in person, you can see more of the undertones because there's really three main undertones. We've got the cool undertone, a more yellow undertone, and a more red undertone in these browns. And I think that they are all just, oof, really great. And I was sitting here, but you guys couldn't see me. Hi, how are you? Normally, and this is what's the awkward thing that I might need to figure out, but normally when I can have the chat up on my computer where this front-facing camera is located, oh, and there I could set up the other webcam, the laptop where I have the chat. I'll have to figure something out. Clearly, I wish I had a dedicated dye kitchen that was just only ChemKnits, and then I could have like permanent streaming stuff mounted on the wall and the ceiling. Dreams. Okay. And of course I can't see the chat. Can you knit double-stranded sock blanks on the Michaels knitting machine? Yes, you can. I think both the Singer and the Michaels, the Loops and Threads knitting machines are geared for worsted weight yarn. So you could do single-stranded, fingering, decay, worsted. Bulky, it starts to struggle a little bit. But you can also do double-stranded fingering. Double-stranded decay, the machines struggle a little bit, and you risk stripping the gears because the gears are plastic. They're really not designed for high throughput. But you can see many videos on the channel of me using the machines, and there's also a bunch of videos of me troubleshooting and whatnot as well. And oh man, you guys. I'm really excited. I'm going to pull up like the leaves are blending in to the yarn I just dyed. This is one I feel that I nailed. Now, did I quite get the eggs in the leaves? I don't know, but I save pictures that I go, ooh, and I save them to, like, I have a private Pinterest board, so that way you guys can't get a sense of what might be coming up. And this one, I was like, man, I really wanted to play with some neutrals. And I think that in general, I try to switch things up. If I do bright tones, I try to go for more pastel or neutral. If I do cool tones, I try to pick warm tones. So I try to alternate the colors and stuff a bit. So that way, like, it can, well, for one, to challenge myself, really. That's one of the big reasons why this started, but also so that way each of you might find something that you might really like. And I like in these streams trying to do as many different fiber types and stuff as I really can, because I think it gives an interesting comparison. And I'll have to pull, I didn't take a picture of it, but maybe I'll have to pull a screenshot of the 3 yarn bases that we started with tonight, because one was sort of tan, one was white, or, you know, the bare off-white, and then one was silvery gray. And with the exception of the one on the bottom you can see, does look a little more pigmented. They are all looking so similar now, which is just really, really fun. Yeah, no, So, like I've thought about, so our garage definitely doesn't have enough like power. The main thing is that, so our garage is freestanding and is not insulated. So it's like, it would take a lot to get it set up to work. And I also wouldn't, like, my dream of a studio is one where I can store the yarn in the same room or in like a pantry of the room where I do like the dyeing and stuff. And so like in my daydreams of building a house, it involves like a basement sort of like in-law suite kind of thing with like a kitchenette. And so that, you know, in the near time it would become my studio, and then like if parents ever had to like stay with us or something, then it could be something that could be used for that as well. So that's sort of like my dream, but like it's, you know, this is my business, but yeah, we're not at a level where like, yeah. Before like my dream studio, I think my like the shorter long-term goals would be to have some additional like editing and technical support. That's something that would come before like building a house or building a studio or renting a space or something. Have I ever tea dyed? I have. There are at least 3 videos. There's like some old ones before Dye Pot Weekly started, and then there's one in the Dye Pot Weekly series for sure. I've tried a lot of stuff. I've done tea, I've done coffee, I've done, well, I did Coke Zero because someone asked about it, and that doesn't really work. So a lot of times, there are some things I will not try. But if I get enough requests for things, then there's some more unconventional things that I am willing to give a shot. The one thing that gets asked about a lot are ketchup and mustard. And I did like, so each month I give, at the very beginning of the month, I set up a poll for my patrons to pick the theme. Sometimes it's a yarn base, sometimes a colorway, sometimes a technique, sometimes a dye type for the next Dye Pot PS episode. And there was one when I was like, okay, let's do like techniques. And I did put ketchup, or maybe it was dye type, but I did put ketchup and mustard on there, and that did not really get any votes from the patrons responding to the poll. But if people really want me to do ketchup and mustard, I will. I just want to get some more requests. I always put everything on my list, and there's some things that, you know, because there's just limited time, so I can't get to everything. There's some things that I'm a little more hesitant to try. And some of those involve hair dye. So I've been told that some hair dyes can dye acrylic yarn, but the fact that a lot of fun colored dyes wash out of human hair so quickly and fade, and they're so unwash fast, that's a big reason why I haven't tried them yet. And I did actually talk to one of my sister-in-law's best friends is a professional hairdresser, stylist, colorist, and so I asked her about like on yarn and you know, and like what her thoughts, because what I was wondering is with the heat setting if that would make things more permanent. But yeah, I mean, she did this amazing like Technicolor thing on my sister-in-law's bangs, but like within a week it was basically gone. And so that's one thing keeping me from it. And plus, I've never dyed my own hair, so I'm a little afraid of hair dye, which is silly. It's really, really silly. But that's something, it is on the list, and I would love to try someday, but fading. Yeah, I think ketchup and mustard could work really great, yeah. More water, dye, yarn, even more color. Okay, so let me go stand up and, sorry. I missed some questions, sorry. I was rambling. Do you guys have any recommendations for good ways to get variegated yarn that cuts down on lots of white spots? Yes. So a technique like this that we're doing today, you saw that I had to move it around a lot to eliminate white spots. And if you're hand painting on the counter, I also move the yarn around a lot. But Sarah is right. If you have more water with your dye, you can get more coverage on the yarn. So you could do dip dyeing in the sense where rather than dipping the whole skein in, you could dip the yarn up to a point and let just that end sit and absorb the color. And then dip another section and another section. And so that's a way that you could get a little more coverage. Moving the yarn around in your dye is a great way to do it as well. With hand painting, it doesn't even need to be warm necessarily. You could do that with something cool. Oh, thank you. Dye Weekly number 20 was tea dyeing. Okay, so there's another question. Makes sense. Would you put the dye in a stock or put it in dry and spread it? And that is either. So if I wanted these colors to spread out more, then with it being so low immersion, maybe I could have started with no acid here. These are superwash yarns. Colors strike faster. That's just sort of what happens. And so if I had more water, or even more water, then the colors would spread more as I added them versus staying put. Because you can see there's water in here, but the dye is coming in contact with the yarn before the water. If there's a little bit of more water at the surface, the dye will hit that and spread out more, which I hope that helps. But you can see we are pretty clear. And, ooh, I wonder if any of the Selena picked up some of it's looking a little gold, which is cool. And so I don't mind there being some pastel patches. What I'm checking for is, yeah, I'm checking to see that the color has exhausted, which it looks like it has. And I'm also just checking for, I don't know, I'm going to turn off the heat. My brain is starting to go a little bit. But so this is the yarn that we dyed, which I think goes with our photo really well. And I think this one does too, but this one has a bit more color to it, which I also think is fun. But you can see with the same technique, here we've got some sharper speckles, and here on the non-superwash wool, we got the colors to spread out a bit more. So if I wanted to do this technique and not flip things around as much, dyeing one skein at a time, or two, having the pan less crowded, is another thing that would help a lot. And so I hope that helps. The comment, it's only hair, it grows out or washes out. Yeah, the problem is that my auburn is dark enough that my fear, if I wanted to add a funky color to it, I'd probably have to bleach it. And so the concern is, if I could dye my hair with purple ends or something, I would love to do that. I would love to have purple hair, you know? But the problem is that if the purple's going to fade after a couple weeks and take a ton of upkeep to keep that color, that's what I'm not interested in. Because I don't blow dry my hair. I don't curl my hair. I put in a spray and scrunch it and then go. So I'm a very low maintenance hair wise. I spend a lot more time on my fingernails than I do on my hair. But that's also because I find painting my nails to be really therapeutic, and I also really like that I can't do anything else for a little while after. It's oh, my fingers are wet. But I'm getting better at actually staying on the nails, which is kind of cool. Let me see. Why can't I see that? No, no, no. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh no, that's my phone. No, phone, go back. Nope, nope. Here we go. Back to the live stream. The tweet is great. It looks like a cat and looks less like moose tracks. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I love when the chat is like full of people asking questions and helping one another. Thank you guys all so much for, oh, I'll pull this up too. There. Yeah. Thank you guys all so much for dealing with the technical difficulties. It was really, really frustrating, but I think that one of the big, yeah. Yeah, I think one of the big, factors was just my computer can no longer handle having both Chrome and OBS open at the same time, which is really, really annoying if you think about it. Because, yeah, but I'm glad that in theory I could, wait, this almost means that I could have someone manage the stream remotely. And so that means that I could have someone not physically even in my home manage the stream. Interesting. Interesting. That gives some thoughts for the future. Oh, I'm glad you guys are learning a lot. Yeah, well, with my job, sometimes I show up in my pajamas. During some Hanukkah live streams and unboxings, it's fun to put on my Hanukkah jammies and just like curl up by my Christmas tree. So I'm Jewish, my husband is not. So we are a blended multi-faith family, and so we celebrate a lot of holidays, and it's confusing. But yeah, and I'm working on the Hanukkah samplers, which I tend to say, so I'm not doing, a lot of dyers will do advent calendars. I'm not, because, oh man, I think putting together 24 videos, that would be hard. That would be really, really hard. Maybe someday when I have more help, I could do like 24. But 8 is still a lot that I'm going to do. Each night of Hanukkah, there will be a new video with a mini skein to unwrap for the people who had the samplers. And I like to say that you don't have to be Jewish to participate and celebrate. I am inviting you all to join and celebrate with me. And so that's sort of like an open invitation. But I've got some fun ideas. So I'm really excited. And I think that should be a lot of fun. Oh, awesome. Oh man, guys, I'm tired. Oh, sorry, I keep like blowing the sound out. I should do that. Okay, my computer did not like that. I don't know what it's doing right now. But let's end on a high note before things go streaky again. Flex me, But yeah, anyway, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel, turn on notifications so you never miss a stream. The recap for this live stream with all the finished dry yarn will be up at the beginning of September to give you all plenty of time to play around with this inspiration photo, dye yarn, and share it with me. Either use the hashtag ChemKnitsDialog on Instagram, or on Facebook, you can find that picture, and then reply with your yarn or fiber or fabric in a comment there. And yeah, I think it's really, really fun. And people have asked if they can use natural dyes. Yeah, you can use natural dyes, food coloring, fiber reactive dyes, things I haven't even heard of, hair dye, whatever. It's up to you. And the point is really to see that how if we have dozens of people look at one picture, we can all do something slightly different, or the techniques that people might pull from it will be different. Because I know that personally I like to pull the technique I do from the photo as much as the colors, and so also with the yarn selections and stuff as well. But other people might do things differently and do a more traditional variegated repeating colorway. but picking out some tones from the picture. And it's just really fun to see how different people see and how it makes you want to translate that onto yarn. Yeah. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, check out the Patreon, check out Etsy, lots and lots and lots of fun stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. I'm tired, and I love what we created tonight, and I'm so glad that we got the string working. I was so frustrated and disappointed, but I'm glad that we have something that is workable. I don't like having to like look down to see the phone, and I'm definitely not seeing the comments as fast as I would when they're up on the same screen as the camera that I'm looking into. But I'm glad that at least like you guys can all see. And in the replay, I probably tomorrow will go and cut out those first like 15 minutes or whatever. Yeah. Oh, I will have to open the browser to end this though, huh? Interesting, interesting. We'll see how all of that goes. Maybe I'll try ending it here before on YouTube. We'll see. I'm not sure. It's all a learning process. All a learning process. Anyway. Oh, right. Go and check out the Knit Pick sale. My affiliate link's in the video